What you're hearing are the cries of an 11-year-old girl being physically restrained by group home workers.
Stand up! We're fully capable! Stand up!
In the next room, Cassidy Frank would listen to this, sometimes for hours.
They'd restrain her everywhere, on the bed, on the floor, against the wall.
Cassidy was one of 4 girls who in 2021 lived together in this group home, a place for kids who've been abused, orphaned, or have behavioral issues. The home is run by a for-profit company called Hats Off, one of the largest operators of group homes in Ontario. Here, Cassidy says, her trauma only deepened.
It was scary, really, really scary.
Which is why when a worker at the home named Shadia Yusuf offered to be a mother figure to Cassidy and take her home, she saw a way out.
Hi, I'm Cassidy's new mother.
So nobody verified where you were going?
No.
Yusuf took her to her apartment, and on the first day, Cassidy says, forced her to sell drugs.
She's like, get out of the car and go sell it.
Incredibly, the worker who was supposed to protect her overdosed, Cassidy says, and police took her to hospital. Meanwhile, Cassidy was left alone in the apartment for 2 weeks as strange men came to check on her, she says, warning she was at risk of being trafficked.
I was freaking out. I was like, okay, what do I do?
Yusuf denies any connection to drugs or human trafficking and says she left because she had a breakdown. The vulnerable youth in group homes should be nowhere near drugs or human trafficking, but they are often dangerously interwoven.
Group homes and residential treatment centers are magnets for exploiters.
Former Hats Off workers, whose identities we've concealed for fear of reprisal, say girls as young as 12 would leave in the middle of the night.
When they would come back, they would report it was with these strangers. They made me do weird things, like consume illicit substances. They would engage in sexual acts. A lot of youth would disclose, I was just so desperate to get out of here.
In Hats Off group homes, workers say there was no money for outings, and ministry inspections show for a time one home relied on a food donation from a church.
Look at it crawl.
Workers documented bed bugs, an infestation in a basement, rats, and severe disrepair. Dismal living conditions that Hats Off says have been resolved. It also disputes the rat complaint and a lack of money for kids.
You want things, right? Hats Off doesn't buy you anything.
The pimp will give them the love that they want and every other thing they want.
But what makes Hats Off stand out is just how many kids ran away. In 4 years, Hats Off reported kids going AWOL, as they call it, 1,170 times, among the highest per bed of any group home operator in the province.
There's nothing you can do legally to stop them. So what are you supposed to do?
Hats Off, which declined an interview, said missing kid reports are filed for many reasons, including being late for curfew. Though it acknowledged human trafficking victims often played a role. It has undertaken a massive effort to train staff, it said, and developed safety plans. It also said restraints are used as a last intervention when the safety of a child is at immediate risk. As for Cassidy, a knock on the apartment door was her salvation. Undercover officers with the human trafficking unit slipped her a fake business card with their number on it. When she was alone, she made the call, and police officers drove her 7 hours north to be reunited with her mother. Shadia Yusuf was never charged. The group home Cassidy fled was closed shortly after she left, though Hats Off still operates 9 others. What does the government need to know about Hats Off?
Shut it down.
After our deadline, we received an email with 40 letters of endorsement from Hats Off workers at the request of their CEO. While approximately half of them were anonymous, they described a family-like environment where staff go the extra mile, money isn't an issue, and the homes are well cared for. Certainly a dramatically different perspective from the roughly 70 people we spoke with for our investigation. Carolyn Jarvis, Global News.